Let's do this thing. Let's watch Neutron Mirror here yet again. See if Dan Musser can go back-to-back in making top 8s and potentially go back-to-back wins here on the SCG Tour. To note, Felix is on 6 cards, but more importantly, Musser is on the play, and he's got a Tron piece plus an Expedition map, and he might be completing Tron as soon as turn number 3 as we head over to Musser. He'll draw a card. He doesn't look like he has another Tron piece. Gonna play an honest game here. Oh, he does have the Basilisk Collar plus Walking Ballista.
Yep, one of those in the main deck.
Nice, okay. Maybe gives you a little edge in the mirror, perhaps. Musser trying to decide if he just wants to play something or if he'd like to sacrifice the Expedition map. Looks like he's going to sacrifice the map. So for Felix, he has a Cavern of Souls. We'll see what he names with this. Most likely Eldrazi, as we're going to head back over to Musser.
Yeah, and Musser has another copy of map in his hand. So I expect him to spend this turn and next turn just completing his Tron, and then we'll be going from there.
Urza's Mine is added to the hand. We're going to head back over to Dan, who picked up a copy of Matter Reshaper. See if he wants to get to the battlefield this turn with a creature, or if he prefer to complete the Tron. I think we just had our question answered.
Yeah, and as you said, if he already has a Collar and a Walking Ballista in his hand, he's okay with falling behind a little bit on the board. He'll catch up real quick with that combo.
There is Matter Reshaper. Musser is going to sacrifice this Expedition map. You're on the hunt for a power plant, Dan, and you did find one. It's good to make sure.
Being very careful.
Yeah. He's already got a mine and a tower along with the Sanctum Mugen on the battlefield. And if he is to peel one of those 3 cards, perhaps the Carnage does begin as he'll untap and draw. Picked up a Chalice of the Void. Not a great card in the mirror.
Now you could play for a lot if you wanted to. And he's got lots of options going on. It could be really fun to play all the different artworks for each of the Tron pieces.
Ugh, it's not my definition of fun. That's a good way to confuse myself.
But yeah, there's a strong argument to be made for not doing that.
Yeah, I try to avoid that. If I do that, I will definitely confuse myself.
And some of them look very wrong.
Well, mine kind of looks like power plant sometimes. Tower always looks the same. Like, you can definitely tell which one's a tower, but sometimes you can get a little confused. It looks like he's got double Matter Reshaper, Dismember, Basilisk Collar, Walking Ballista, Chalice. I think you want to get the Collar deployed if you can. I just don't think you want to have that get taken by Thought-Knots here.
Sure. It's definitely a powerful card. It's pretty doubtful, but if the opponent just decides to go Chalice on 1, then you can never play it as well. So you might as well get it on the board.
Now here is Thought-Knots here.
No, look at you.
You got to play around it. Now here's the hand, the Chalice, the Ballista, and the Dismember. And the tough thing here for Felix is he would like to take the Ballista.
Yeah.
And he might still take the Ballista.
Yeah, I think he has to take the Ballista.
But that means that Dismember is an answer to Thought-Knots here, which means Musser will get to draw a card and kill the Thought-Knots here. So Musser has left his hand in such a way that it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Sure. But you still have to take the best possible route, which is taking the Walking Ballista here.
Totally agree with you. So Ballista has been exiled by the Thought-Knots here. Now we're going to go over to Dan Musser. Musser going to draw a card. A Wastes. Not exactly what the doctor ordered.
No, that's all right. He's got another one coming to him.
Good point. I think he's going to use the Sanctum to cast it. So he'll pay 4 life to take care of the Thought-Knots here. Down to 16 he goes, and he'll draw a card. Let's see what he finds this time. Well,
a little better.
That'll do, Ski.
Little better.
Oh, Karn Liberated has arrived. And I think it's got an eye on Urza's Tower, my friends. Let the carnage begin. There goes the Tower of Power.
It's so funny. You always pick the tower. Everyone picks the tower.
So I went on a crusade briefly where everyone should go after the power plant.
It just doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all, obviously.
Yeah.
I went on a brief crusade where I was like, we need to change as a community and go after the power plant now. It's no longer about the tower.
Sure, all of us. We all need to turn.
All of us need to change.
Turn on the power plant.
Matter Reshapers will die. They both reveal chalices.
That's great.
Here's another copy of Matter Reshaper.
More Matter Reshapers.
Musser's got the Karn. He needs to do a little bit better, though, than that. And there's an All Is Dust, which
There's lots of blanks in this matchup.
almost as bad as the Chalice, truth be told. I think the elevator goes up on this one now.
For sure.
I'm going to take a card out of Felix's hand. It's going to go underneath the card, and there goes that useless Chalice. Now, I suppose Dan's Chalice is okay.
He could set a Chalice for 4 if he wanted to.
He could. If he's afraid of Thought Knot Seer, he can set a Chalice for 4, but that would also shut off his Thought Knot Seers. So, you know, that's the big question if he wants to do that or not. That's 8 mana. But yeah, I guess this is actually okay. Because if he does play 1 for 4.
I mean, he's working with Karn, so he's incentivized to just keep as little going on the board as possible.
Well, he can play 1 for 4 and crack his Sanctum of Ugin. Or he can play the Dustbuster and crack his Sanctum of Ugin. All right, so all his dust is going to kill nothing. And now I want to see what he wants to go search up. He's got a mana floating. He might be thinking Ulamog here. He could also take Walking Ballista.
They all work.
They're all pretty good.
Ulamog is definitely flashier here, but he's a couple cards away from casting that.
Just one Tron piece or Temple.
Sure.
Yeah, so there is a top deck he could have. Ballista, I think, is a little bit safer.
Yeah, I like Ballista. It is just the safer get here. It's going to dominate this board for several turns. He can sink his mana into it each turn. So it's, to me, it's the safe pick.
I was curious if he's going to cast or not because he had a colorless mana floating. He can make it as a 1/1, but he's not going to do that. He's just going to pass the turn back. So a Thought Knot Seer could potentially nab this. Yeah, he used that mana to equip the collar on the Matter Reshaper.
And the best possible for Felix here would be a Temple plus a Reality Smasher.
That would be pretty darn good.
But even that would not get this Karn off of the table right away.
Matter Reshaper's going to go after Karn.
Yeah, I think Dan's in for some trades.
How about some Chalice reveals? Thought Knot Seer, Eldrazi Temple. Yeah, this was kind of the fear. Yeah, because Thought Knot Seer is going to take care of the Ballista now. 2 Chalices obviously don't care about. Now, it's not the end of the world.
No, yeah, and he can Karn this Thought Knot Seer if he wants to.
Eldrazi Temple. But I think he might be incentivized to minus here. Kill Thought Knot Seer.
Yep.
He needs to draw something that matters. How do you do? Found it. Okay. The fear there is that if he drew a land, Reality Smasher could take care of Karn.
Yes.
And then Musser has to start top decking to get out of the situation. But he found a Wormcoil Engine.
Which is kind of a funny one. It comes pre-equipped with a Basilisk Collar.
Oh, double equip. Double Death Touch. Come on, Dan. We might have a Chalice for 1. I kind of like this, actually. Chalice for 1 means that he's going to lock out Expedition Map.
Sure.
Which could end up mattering a little bit here as we're going to head back over to Felix. Felix is trying to work his way through Karn. Never easy to do. His land's got a Cavern of Souls on Eldrazi. Looks like he's going to play a Walking Ballista for 1. This isn't going to help all that much, unfortunately. Let's see. Is he going to go? He's going to go Ghost Quartering, huh? Okay. Going to take care of the tower. Dan can search up a way. So this takes Dan off a Tron.
Oh, it's so late, though.
It is pretty late. He's got to use a lot of that mana already.
Well, and Felix just...
kind of stunning himself by doing that.
Yeah, he set himself back a land when he's already behind on this board.
All right, we're going to go to Musser. He's going to untap. Active Karn, Wormcoil Engine, draw step, Eldrazi Temple.
Not great, but even taking him off a Tron there, look at all the lands he still has in play that he's working with.
Yeah, he can still do a lot.
Yeah. I think he can still do just about everything.
Going to plus this up to 8. Karn is hungry for a Thought Knot Seer.
And I think I would have started by attacking.
Yeah. There's a block and a sack. Going to bring Karn down to 7.
Yeah, because if Felix doesn't ping Karn there, you can go down if you want. You can eat the opponent's Temple.
Sure, sure.
Leave Karn on 1 counter, and then the game is just all locked up. Although this way, this way's looking pretty good for him too.
Things are going okay, I would argue.
Yeah, which horse are you picking here?
I might go with defending champion. Looking to go back-to-back, the Muss Man. He's going to play a chalice for 3. And we're going to pass the turn back. Felix will draw.
The chalice for 3.
Yeah. Just to pick a number at random.
Yeah, the game's not going to last a whole lot longer, so might as well just play this thing.
Karn's going to go down. Going to take care of that Tron piece, in for 6. And Karn is just proving once again to be a little bit too much for the opponent to overcome. Of course, Dan drew a Matter Reshaper after he played the chalice for 3, because why wouldn't he?
That's so great.
Yep. Felix has drawn a power plant. He'll just pass the turn back. Dan will untap that Worm Coil Engine, picked up a Cavern of Souls. Aha! Now we can Matter Reshaper.
Yep, we can cast it right through that chalice.
So lucky. Karn gonna go up. All is dust. He'll name Eldrazi with the Cavern of Souls, and now there's a Matter Reshaper, uncounterable through the chalice. Equip the Basilisk Collar. It'll be a lethal attack next turn as Felix will draw. And he is beat. So Dan Musser is going to win game number 1 here over Felix Elias, as the Eldrazi Tron Mirror is going towards the player on the left thus far, thanks to Karn Liberated.
Yeah, these are pretty fun matchups to watch just because the cards that the players are casting are so powerful. It's not the most engaging matchup as far as interaction is concerned, but I just love watching haymakers.
Yeah. Sideboards is where we're going to go now. Both these players are going to have a very similar sideboard. We'll go one by one, but they're going to be pretty much the same. Grafdigger's Cage, Hangerback Walker, Ratchet Bomb, Relic of Progenitus, Surgical Extraction, Warping Whale, Basilisk Collar. Those are all 2-0s for Felix, along with a Singleton Pithing Needle.
Yeah, and Felix has some pretty good options here. There's a lot of dead cards in the matchup that the players are going to want to take out. The All Its Dust is going to come out. The Chalice of the Void is going to come out. Probably the Relic of Progenitus in his deck is going to come out. So that's 6 or 8 cards that he's going to want to take out of his deck right there. So I expect the Basilisk Collars to come in, the Pithing Needle to come in, the Hangerback Walkers to come in, and then potentially these Surgical Extractions. If he's able to Ghost Quarter Surgical Extraction, he can keep his opponent off of Tron for the entire game. Yeah, that's kind of the trick that we've seen Todd Stevens employ on the stream and a couple times in real life as well, which is Ghost Quarter a Tron piece, Surgical it away, you can never complete. For Dan Musser, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Hangerback Walker, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Surgical of his own, 2 Warping Whale, another Basilisk Collar, a Pithing Needle, and a Crucible World. So as I mentioned, pretty similar sideboards. Yeah, similar setup here. Dan doesn't have as many cards to take out because he doesn't have the relics in his main deck that Felix has. So not as many cards to swap around, but I expect to see, you know, the Basilisk Collar, the Hangerback Walkers, potentially the Surgical Extractions, and maybe the Pithing Needle. Fair enough. Those are the options there for both players. We are in a mirror match, and if we have time to jump to our next match, see where players are playing for top 8, we will. But for now, we are going to turn our attention to the StarCityGames.com weekly sale, which you got a little bit of time left here to get up to 50% off select standard singles like Gideon Ally, Zendikar, the Scorpion God, Heart of Karen, and so much more. Go to StarCityGames.com/weekly sales where you can check out everything that is on sale. It's going to end tomorrow at 10:59 a.m. East Coast time, but at 11, just 1 minute later, we'll have a new sale up for you. So make sure you do bookmark go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale, and make sure that you do take the opportunity to get up to 50% off select standard staples for while we have this sale still going. As we get ready here for game number 2 between Dan Musser and Felix Elias. It's an Eldrazi Tron Mirror for Dan Musser. You'll see on his updated player slide here, he's got 11 top 8s, looking for number 12. The 11th one came last weekend in Syracuse, along with the second SCG Tour Open win for the 32-year-old from Akron, Ohio. Master's degree in applied mathematics, big Pikachu fan, and yes. Dan went out of his way to find me after one of the rounds. Yes, tell me more. He wanted to talk to me about these things on his slide. He said he was very specific when he wrote them down. He did not claim that Pikachu is his spirit animal. He said Pikachu is his spirit animal. Oh, so we need to update this a little bit. Yeah. Okay. He said that someone else decided it was a claim and included that. He's not a fan of that. He said, without a doubt. Is he a fan of Taylor Swift, though? Big fan. He's a big fan? But it was specifically the claims part that he had. He took issue with that. We can update that. Yeah.
We can update that.
Definitively, out of the horse's mouth, Pikachu is his spirit animal.
Noted. And filed as we get ready here for game 2. And there's his mine, and Expedition Map is where Felix is going to start things.
Pithing Needle, come on.
Eldrazi Temple and just pass. We could have a turn 2 Thought Knots here for Dan, as there is an Urza's Power Plant. So Tron online maybe here.
Yeah, I think Felix had natural Tron already.
Well, Dan has a Ghost Quarter, and this is always interesting when you're playing against Tron, to me, because you want to Ghost Quarter them.
Yes.
But Ghost Quartering on the draw kind of stinks because they have waste in their deck, but you want to take them off of Tron because turn 3 Karn, game over. So we're going to go to the draw step, it looks like, and now fire away. Maybe he hopes that Felix has drawn both of his wastes, or perhaps he's just supposed to try to get lucky.
Yeah, you fall so far behind when you do this, but sometimes there's no other option.
Dan is going to go after the power plant. Felix is going to search for a waste here, it looks like. Maybe. He might float and crack the map as well. We'll see. He will float and crack.
So he's going to get a waste in play and a land of his choice in his hand. And it looks like he's just shuffling here, so.
Failed to find on the Ghost Quarter. Quick check. He does have 2 wastes. Maybe he had them both in his hand. Wow.
A bit of a dagger for him.
Well, no, hold on. Okay, so he resolved the map. Yes. So he resolved the map, shuffled, presented, then got the waste for the Ghost Quarter. So.
Oh, man.
That's all right. Playing for top 8 under camera. Might be a little nervous.
Just maybe it's not. Just wanted a little more time.
Let's see what the follow-up is here. Hanger back Walker for 1. Pass the turn back to Musser. Thought Not Seer.
Okay.
Is what he peeled. He gave him some time to get there. Now he's got the other Tron piece, does Felix. So Tron will be online in a moment.
Oh, and these are all goodies.
It's another Hanger back, a Thought Not Seer, a Matter Reshaper, a Walking Ballista, and another the final Tron piece, pardon me. And I don't know what you're supposed to take, but you can't take the land. Yeah. Can't take that one. Ballista seems like a real issue.
Yeah, I think it's Ballista, but also the Hangerback Walker is a big problem as well.
Yeah.
If you find a way to deal with the Ballista, at least it's gone. It's clean. If next turn he deploys a 4/4 Hangerback Walker,
you're going to have to Karn it. That's kind of your way to beat it.
Well, I mean, Dan is nowhere close to Karning anything.
You're not wrong about that.
So if it trades with something, if you dismember it or whatever the case, it just leaves a mess of Thopters behind. So yeah, I don't know what the right card is. I'm inclined to take the Hangerback Walker, I think.
I just think that if you give him the opportunity to deploy Walking Ballista, then you give him the opportunity to keep pumping mana into Walking Ballista, and that's just too much to handle, unless you have a Dismember immediately for it, which I don't think Dan does.
No, he's on the beatdown plan here. He's thumbing over his Reality Smasher.
Ooh, interesting. So he's going to take Thought Knots here. Okay. All right, let's see how this goes as we head back over to Felix. Felix got some good draw steps, too, of course. Picked up another copy of Waste.
Not one of the good draw steps.
One of the poorer ones. Access to 8 mana this turn.
Yeah, probably doesn't matter that it's one of the bad ones.
There's Walking Ballista for 4.
And I like this play. Like you said, if he's able to untap with this Ballista in play, I mean, even if he gets cracked for 9 points here, the Ballista just takes over the game. And if he feels like his life total is threatened, he's got the double chump blocker in the form of the Hangerback Walker. He can just, block the Thought Not Seer, take 5 from the Smasher. Next turn, he's got the same play lined up again.
Here is the Smasher. Now here comes Thought Knots here. Now I'm curious to see what the block will be here for Felix, because there's a pretty straightforward one if he sees it. he's actually not going to make one here. So I think if I'm in Felix's spot there, I put Hangerback Walker in front of Thought Knots here, and I can take 3 shots at the Ballista, kill it. I'm still left with a 1-1. I don't know if you find that to be risky or not.
I think the Walking Ballista is so valuable when it's big. I definitely see a lot of value in just chump blocking the Thought Knots here. I have Tron. I've got some very expensive spells in my hand that I can get a lot of value out of. So I can see preserving my life total. But I don't think I just use up all of the counters there.
Well, you still have 1 left.
Yes, no, I understand.
Yeah. So you still get to keep loading it up if you want to. For me, if I'm Felix, I feel like the only way I'm going to lose this game, at least right now, is if I kind of get aggroed out.
Sure. Yeah, another Reality Smasher, and it's like,
yeah, things get a little more difficult.
But that's one of the reasons I don't want to use up the counters off of the Walking Ballista. I'm a big fan of getting it up to a 6/6.
Surgical Extraction will take care of Ghost Quarter. So now we take a look at Musser's hand. In Urza's Mine, a Wastes, at least 1 Inbringer, another Reality Smasher, it looks like, and a Hangerback Walker. Now the Ghost Quarters are gone. And that we know.
And yeah, it looks like Dan has the cards to make this a game at least.
This feels like a game to me still, very much so.
Because the Endbringer is a pretty good answer to a big Hangerback Walker. You just say you can't block.
Yep, can't block or can't attack, depending on which way you want to go there.
I don't have to trade with it and leave you with a bunch of Thopters. I just won't interact with it in combat.
Felix also bringing himself down to 9 with that surgical. So his life total is really starting to matter.
And the way that he's played this, he started with the Matter Reshaper, so he cannot double pump the Walking Ballista.
Yeah, I think he might be working himself into a little bit of trouble here, Craig.
I think he's still not in a terrible shape. If he wants to, he can trade the Walking Ballista with a Reality Smasher, trade his other 2 creatures with the Thought Knot Seer, be left with 2 Thopters, draw a card because the Thought Knot Seer died, get an additional card off of the Matter Reshaper dying, and he still just has tons of mana, tons of resources to work with, and he's taking out 2 of the big threats on the opponent's side.
See, Dan's trying to line up exactly what the blockers are going to be here.
Yeah, I don't think he can attack if he doesn't play the other Reality Smasher.
I think you're right. Collar's interesting.
Collar is super interesting. On the Trampler, super interesting.
Musser, who won last weekend with this deck, beat the Mirror in the finals, is in the Mirror here again. Currently up a game. Has a lot of life to work with. Felix is the one playing defense right now. Remember, Musser knows the last card in Felix's hand is another copy of Hangerback Walker. It's how will Felix use the Hangerback Walker and the Walking Ballista that he has on the battlefield. He's got access to 6 mana. We might see Musser just go towards Endbringer here too.
Yeah, you can take a turn off, say, I want this Endbringer active for later. The only issue with that is that, the Walking Ballista and the Hangerback Walker on the other side just grow as this game goes on.
I think he's going towards Endbringer.
This is really tough. There's no great place for him. I think I would have gone towards the Reality Smasher and attacking. It gives my opponent the most opportunities to make a mistake.
Sure.
And I just don't want this Walking Ballista to ever get to a 6/6.
Yeah, Walking Ballista getting to a 6/6 is scary. And now it can actually get up to a 7/7. So we're going to go over to Felix, who has drawn a Ghost Quarter. Remember, his last card in hand is Hangerback Walker.
And it looks like he has 10 mana to work with.
10 exactly, yeah. So that's 2 Walking Ballista activations plus a Hangerback Walker activation. With a little bit of mana left over if he wants to fire up a Ghost Cord, maybe an Eldrazi Temple or a Tron piece.
Sure, I'm thinking 1 Walking Ballista activation. Get the other Hangerback Walker on the board.
Okay.
Still pump the Hangerback Walker that I have in play.
So that's 10 mana, so you can play Walking Ballista. Activate Walking Ballista brings you down to 6 mana. Hangerback Walker for 2.
Yep.
And then still have mana left over for the Hangerback Walker that's on the battlefield. Sure.
Or you just play the
Walker for 3.
Yeah,
if you want to.
Same thing.
Sure. He's really got to lay out this turn. That's why you see him taking a little bit of time here about what he wants to do with the mana and what the best route to go is. Whoa.
Yeah, Dan can't block this. Whoop.
Oh, yeah.
StarCityGames.com dealer booth would like you to know that they will be closing at the end of this round of the Standard Classic. That's going to be about 50 minutes from now, so if you have any final business...
Dan definitely can block this.
Make your way over there for the next hour or so before they are closed up.
So I kind of like this because this kind of forces Ballista to do something this turn.
Oh, absolutely, it does.
Surgical, which is going to go to hand.
Not a great one.
No, not. So not great, but oddly enough, not terrible. If he kills Reality Smasher with Ballista, he can surgical the one out of Dan's hand.
Yep. Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, which it makes it so it's not the worst thing in the world. So here's a bunch of mana. That's for 4. He's going to Ghost Quarter Tower.
Oh.
Surgical that. The thing is, I'm not sure how much that matters right now.
Yeah, I don't like this line. I liked what you said a lot better. Stripping a Reality Smasher out of the opponent's hand and dealing with the one that's already in play seems very important to me.
Dan's going to search up a waste. He's got another waste in his hand. And now Felix is going to take care of the towers. The fear of him completing Tron is understandable. No doubt about it. But I think I would care more about the Reality Smasher. I guess the problem I have is I don't think he's putting enough of an onus on how good Walking Ballista is right now.
Correct. I agree with you there.
Because right now Felix is at 7.
Yeah, its life total is getting low.
Yeah.
And as we've said, the Endbringer can turn off a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 Reality Smashers and a Thought-Knot Seer coming into play. And the Basilisk Collar means that there's going to be the maximum amount of trample coming over.
If he can play and equip it all in the same turn.
Correct. I think he's a mana short from doing that.
Yeah. So Musser's going to draw. Now, I don't know what Musser's best draw is in this situation. We'll see what his draw step is, which is Wormcoil Engine, which he can't cast.
Can't cast right now, but it's another good one as this game goes on.
Yep.
First of all, thank you for sticking it out for 7 rounds of play. If you believe you will be making the top 8 after you submit your match slip, please bring your deck over to the
I think Dan might be going towards Collar.
on the stage for a deck verification for the top 8.
He might be thinking Smasher.
Yeah, it looks like he's thinking Smasher. I'm going to turn off the 4/4 blocker.
Okay.
And just get in with the 2 5/5s.
Don't forget that Endbringer can also ping.
Yep.
Yeah, I was curious if he wants to Endbringer and make it so that Hangerback Walker can't block the 4/4, if he wants to make it so Walking Ballista can't block. But I think he's actually incentivized to make Walking Ballista block so it's off the battlefield.
Yep. I agree with you there. And this is great. One person completed Tron, and we see the other person just battling back through the temples.
Mm-hmm.
And just tons of these medium-range Eldrazi creatures, which can be so powerful.
So you see Dan's lining up combat. He's going to say, Hangerback Walker can't block. I really want you to block with Ballista. You need to block with Ballista. So here are my attacks.
Okay, and yeah, it looks like the Thought Knot Seer is kind of a free attack because the trample on the Reality Smashers would just kill Felix. It would kill Felix if he put the 5/5 in front of the 4/4.
Yep. Looks like to me there's not very good blocks here. I think Walking Ballista has to go in front of Thought Knot Seer.
Yep.
And then it needs to remove all 5 counters to kill a Smasher. And then the other Smasher needs to be blocked by Hangerback Walker.
Yep.
Which means 3 damage will trample through. If you activate that Hangerback Walker, you make it into a 3/3, so 2 damage will trample through. And then you get 3 1/1s.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the best line.
Yeah.
You're taking the least amount of damage. You're only killing 1 Reality Smasher, which is pretty rough.
Yep.
But you can't go to 2 here and just get ping twice by Endbringer.
Yeah, that's not an option. And if he makes a play, he's got to be a little careful here too, because if he blocks Reality Smasher with Hangerback Walker, can't forget that it tramples. So he's just got to be careful with how he uses it, I guess.
Sure.
I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and this block is similar to what you had stated.
There's an activation. So damage he's going to take 5, I think.
But
yeah?
he takes more damage this way.
Yeah. He's going to get 3 Thopters, but he's going to fall down to 2. It's a virtual 1 now. Because Endbringer, I don't know if he can just, I don't know if he can beat the board.
I don't think he can. And this is very impressive by Dan. Just you know, I would have said with the cards and the way that the game lined up that he would have been in a lot of trouble for most of this game.
The biggest issue right now is he has to kill Endbringer. And I think he's got to draw Karn. Dismember obviously isn't it. I don't know what he drew. I think Felix this game just put too much of an onus on Surgical Extraction.
Well, there was the early attack where he didn't put his 1/1 in front of the 4/4. And it just felt like that damage was going to matter later.
Yep.
And in these later attacks, his life total was under so much pressure that he wasn't able to make better blocks or take more time.
Yeah. Dan found a way through it, as he's going to win this match over Felix Elias 2-0, and that means it's going to be back-to-back top 8s here for Dan Musser. The opportunity to go back-to-back open wins, something that we have seen Jerry Thompson do, we have seen Tom Ross do, and we have seen Brennan DeCandio